U.S. President Joe Biden is resisting growing calls to abandon his re-election bid. He's vowing to return to the campaign trail next week. Biden is currently isolating at his beach house in the state of Delaware after testing positive for COVID-19. His doctor says his condition is improving. The president is under increasing pressure, with many senior Democrats worried that he cannot beat Donald Trump in November. More than 30 congressional Democrats have now called for him to drop out. Let's go to my hometown of Los Angeles and bring in Ethan Bierman. He is a U.S. political commentator and adjunct professor at Loyola Law School, Los Angeles. Welcome, Ethan. Joe Biden faces increasing pressure, and the list of Democrats who think he should drop out of the race is growing. What do you make of his insistence that he's returning to the campaign trail?
Well, I think at this point, what that means is that he has not decided to drop out or to acquiesce, or possibly that they have not delivered to him a viable plan should he drop out. Joe Biden does strategize and plan. He has great advisors around him. So he has to contemplate what the consequences are if he were to step down, if he's even willing to step down. But these calls do continue to grow, and they are growing louder, which is upsetting many people in the Democratic Party base who strongly support President Biden.
Now, for many Democrats, Vice President Kamala Harris has risen to the top of the list of possible replacements. Who else is on that list, and who are they, especially for our viewers who are mostly not from the United States?
Right. Well, Kamala Harris is clearly the front runner. She is from California as well. She is the sitting vice president. That would be the natural replacement for President Joe Biden. I think the top two candidates, if there are top two after Kamala Harris, would be Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. She survived an attempted kidnapping by some radicals a few years back around the 2020 election. She's been a loud, pragmatic voice in the Democratic Party who is a strong leader. And I think that actually who is probably in the lead, if it's not Kamala Harris, and possibly even if it is Kamala Harris, is sitting California Governor Gavin Newsom. He has taken it straight on to the Republicans. He debated Governor Ron DeSantis, a MAGA Republican from Florida, on Fox News and handled that extremely well. He's been advertising nationally, and he is a well-regarded leader in the Democratic Party as well.
Regardless of who they pick, they need to make a decision fast, don't they? Whether they stick with Biden or they look for another replacement.
Yeah, so the Democratic convention is coming up here in Chicago around August 19th, I believe, is when it starts. And they need to have this settled before then. There are people calling for this to be settled at the convention in a historically traditional way, where they would argue this out there. However, in light of knowing that the Republicans will likely file lawsuits to try and block any replacement of Joe Biden on ballots, this needs to be done post haste in order to get a replacement ready.
Now, while the Democrats are sort of infighting, this is playing right into the hands of Republicans, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's nobody who benefits more from this Democratic infighting than the Republican Party, which is really the Trump party nowadays. So it's Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and all of the contested seats. People forget that this year there are significant, important Senate seats up for election. And what's called the House of Representatives here in the United States gets reelected every 2 years. Those elections are also happening in November. So this won't just benefit the top of the Republican Party ticket, being Trump and Vance, but it also potentially benefits all of these other races, which are very important for the governance here in the United States.
Ethan Bierman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Melissa.